at the tops of our mats, bringing our toes together, pressing all of our little piggies into the mat, and then beginning to grow from there, pressing into the floor with our feet and then lifting as we grow away from our mats. As we get to our thighs, they begin to activate. We get those glutes working. Our tummy is nice and strong. We're all active around our torso, pulling those shoulders back, lifting the heart, reaching down with our fingers, lifting from the top of our head as we find Tadasana. Tadasana is a very nice, easy pose, but it is also a pose, where we work. It is not just standing. We are active, breathing in through our nose, out from our mouths. One more, in through our nose, out through our mouths. And now let's seal our lips and just inhale and exhale through our nose. Bringing our thoughts inward, checking in with how we're feeling right now. Letting the air that comes in revitalize us, wake us up a little bit. As we exhale, let's let go of tension and of judgment, of expectations, of competition with ourselves or with other cameras. And now inhaling, let's lift our hands up to the sky. Pull those shoulders back and down. Open those fingers wide. Reaching the fingers up to the sky. And then exhale, just a tiny back bend. Pulling the shoulders back, lifting the heart. Hips come forward. And then exhale, let's just swan dive and fold forward. We can round in the back. Bend our knees at the beginning, kind of sway side to side. Good, and then rolling our way up, slowly, slowly, slowly. Hands come up high. And then again, exhale, little back bend here. Inhale up and then exhale, folding forward. Rolling our way up. Let's do that one more time. So really just think about mobility in our spine, moving ourselves around ever so gently, little back bend here, and back up and down, rounding in the spine. Good. And now as we are here in our forward fold, we'll bend the knees, we'll place our hands to the floor, to our toes. We'll just kind of pedal our legs, so straightening one leg, straightening the other leg. Those outer hips woken up, our hamstrings, and then again, bending really deeply and slowly rolling our way up. Hands come up to the sky, and we'll bring them together this time at the top. Lifting with our fingers, dropping the shoulders away from our ears, and then exhale. Let's take those hands over to one side. Inhaling, coming up to the center, and And then exhaling over to the other side. Good. Inhaling up, and now with our breath, we'll exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. One more time to each side. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. Last one. Exhaling over to the side. Inhaling up. Release those hands. Exhale. Let's fold forward. Good. And lifting nice and high. Let's bring those hands together at our hearts, and we'll open up our feet nice and wide. It doesn't really matter which direction we're facing here. Nice wide legs. Our feet are pointed out at an angle. We'll bring our elbows to our ribs, opening up the chest, dropping the shoulders. Inhale, we'll lift those hands up high. Exhale, we'll bring the elbows down to our ribs, and then we'll sit down in a wide squat. Good. Inhale, we'll come on up. And exhale down into our moonflowers. Breathing in, we lift. Exhale, we lower. We're not dropping. We're actively lowering ourselves up or down, lifting ourselves up. Good. Just opening up those hips. Starting to feel the connection between our movements and our breaths. Let's do one more. Inhale, we come up. Exhale, down. And now inhale, we'll come up. Exhale, big circles with our arms. We'll bend the knees into that squat and then hinge at the hips as if we want to gather up. A big bundle of sunflowers, and then inhale, we come up. Exhale, big circles with our arms. And lifting from inside our thighs, our pelvic floor. Lowering down. Inhaling up. Let's do one more. Exhale, coming down. Inhaling all the way up. And now exhale, let's sit down into that low squat again. Elbows to our ribs, palms point to the sky. Tuck the tail, lengthen in that spine. Drop the shoulders. Beautiful. Bring those hands to the heart. And then we'll turn and we'll step to the top of our mats again. Inhaling high. Exhale, let's sit down into our chair. Good. Inhaling, we come up. And exhale, we'll sit down. Just moving again, always with our breath. Lifting high and then exhale, tucking that tail. Breathing into the belly as we sit into our chair. One more. Inhale up. And then exhale, we'll sit down into our chair and we'll hold our chair. Good. Inhale, let's come all the way up. And then hip hinging swan dive down to our forward fold. From here, let's come up to our half lift so our hands can come to our shins, to our toes, to the mat. Long spine, long legs. Exhale, let's step back with that left foot into our lunge. Take some time to wiggle into our lunge. First one of the practice. Good, and now let's step back for our downward facing dog. Again, wiggle our way in, we can pedal our feet, wiggle our fingers, and then press them down into our mats, pulling our shoulders away, checking that we don't have wrinkly wrists, long backs, high butts, and then we can begin to press those heels down in toward the mat. Good, let's inhale into a plank. A plank can be on our toes, it can be on our knees. Good, and then exhale, shoulders will come forward, elbows will go back, and we lower ourselves down onto our bellies. Good, from here, let's come up to a baby cobra. So we're gonna use our back muscles as we pull our shoulders forward and then lift back. Notice I'm not pressing with my hands. I'm using those back muscles to help lift me up. Good, and then exhale, let's lower that chest down. Hands are underneath of our shoulders, tucking the toes, lifting the quads, and then pressing back for our downward facing dog. And making our way to the top of the mat, either walking, big steps, a little hop, to our forward fold. Inhale all the way up to the sky. Exhale, let's sit down into our chair. Good, inhaling up. Exhale, swan diving down to our fold. Inhale to a flat back, long legs. Exhale, we fold and we'll step back with that right foot into our lunge. Checking the alignment that our knee is over our ankle, or maybe just a little bit ahead of it. Good, stepping back for our downward facing dog. Inhale forward to our plank for the day. Good, exhale, lowering down. Softening the feet. Inhale to a baby cobra. Good, lowering all the way back down, tucking those toes, activating those thighs, and then pressing back for a downward facing dog. Looking forward towards those fingers, we can step or jump to the top of our mats for our forward fold. And inhaling all the way up high. Beautiful. Exhale, little back bend here. Cactus arms, opening up that chest. Inhaling up. And now exhale, let's sit down into that chair. Good, inhaling up. And exhale, let's fold forward. Woo. Good, inhale to a flat back. Exhale, we fold. And now let's step back again with that left foot into our lunge. Lunge can be on our toe. We can even drop the knee if we need. We're not quite awake yet, we can drop that knee, or if later on in the practice we're getting a little tired, always dropping the knee, or then when we're ready, coming back up again. Good, now we're gonna take that right hand, or the left hand is gonna stay on the floor, right hand comes up to the sky, lengthening in that back leg, in these top fingers are reaching. Good, and back down to our lunge. And let's inhale to a high lunge. Good, exhale, let's bring those hands down to the inside of that right foot. Good, and now we're gonna walk our hands around to the left to a wide-legged forward fold. Good, bending the knees ever so slightly to lift ourselves all the way up. So we're still pointing to the left. Good, hands come to our hearts. We're gonna bend this left knee and sit down. It may not be all the way down. Good, to that left, and now inhale all the way up high to the center. We'll point those right toes to the front of the mat, and then we'll come into our warrior two. Good, sinking down, and now inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, cartwheeling those hands down to our mat. Let's step back, downward facing dog. Inhale forward into our plank. Exhale, we'll lower down. And now we can stick with our baby cobra, or we can come up to upward facing dog. And then we'll tuck those toes, we'll lift those butts, press backwards into our downward facing dog. Good, lifting the right leg up high. Let's kick ourselves in the butt and open up that hip to the right. Good. And now bringing the knee into our chest, we'll hover in plank and we'll place that knee down in pigeon. Now we're not going to stay in pigeon for a long, long time. So one breath here. And then we'll tuck that left toe, step back, three-legged dog. And now stepping all the way forward to the top of our mat. Stepping with the left. Forward fold. Inhale to a flat back, long legs. Exhale, we fold. And inhale all the way up high. Now let's see if I remember what we just did so we can do it on the other side. Exhale, back bend. Inhaling up. And now let's sit down into our chair. Inhaling high. And then exhaling down to our forward fold. Again, flat back, long legs. As we exhale, let's take that right leg back into our lunge. Beautiful. Right hand will stay on the floor, left hand comes up. Good, back down, finding our balance. Inhale to a high lunge. And then exhale, hands come down to the floor to the inside of that left foot. I'm gonna switch around. We're gonna walk ourselves around to the right for our wide-legged forward fold. Good. Slightly bending the knees, inhaling nice and high. Hands come to our hearts. Good, and then we're gonna bend that right knee and come on over to that side lunge. Left toes can come up to the sky. Good, and then inhaling up, and we'll point those left toes to the top of the mat and open ourselves up for warrior two. Good, inhale, reverse warrior. Good, so far so good. Cartwheeling those hands down to the floor. Let's step back for a downward facing dog. Inhale to our plank. Exhale, we lower down. Inhale to our cobra or upward facing dog. Good, we'll tuck those toes. We'll push ourselves back to our downward facing dog, and we'll lift that left leg up high. Good, bringing the knee into our chest, and then we'll lower it down for a short pigeon. Good. Tuck those right toes. Step ourselves back. Three-legged dog. And then stepping all the way forward to the top of our mat. Stepping with the right into our fold. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, slowly we roll our way up to the top. Hands come up high. And now we're going to exhale, hands come to our sides for Tadasana. Take a couple of breaths here. Good. We're going to do that whole sequence again to both sides at least one more time. So inhale, let's lift those hands up high. Good. Exhale, little back bend. Lift that chest, pull the shoulders back. Inhaling up. And now exhale, swan dive down to our fold. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold, maybe just a little bit deeper. We'll take that left leg back for our lunge. Good, inhale, right hand comes up. Exhaling down. Finding our balance, coming on up for a high lunge. Good, exhaling, hands fall down to the floor to the inside of that right foot, and we'll walk our way around for our wide-legged forward fold. Inhaling, nice and high. Hands come to our hearts, bending that left knee. Good, back up to the top. Pointing the right toes toward the top of the mat. Warrior two. Good, inhaling, reverse warrior. Exhale, cartwheeling down to our lunge. Stepping back, downward facing dog. Inhaling forward into our plank. Down to our tummies, inhale. Cobra or upward facing dog. Tucking the toes, lifting the bones. Downward facing dog. Let's lift up that right leg. We'll kick ourselves in the bum. Good. Bring our knee into our chest. Hover ever so slightly, and then short pigeon here. Good. Tucking that left toe, stepping back, three-legged dog. And then again, stepping all the way forward. And then with the left. Holding. Heavy, heavy head. Good. Inhale. Slowly. Lifting high. Good. From here, let's do a chest expansion. Bringing those arms back behind us. Pulling the shoulders back down, opening up that chest. Holding that big yoga ball behind us, or if we can find those hands to help pull those shoulders back and down. Good, gently bending the elbows, inhaling nice and high, and then we'll sit down into our chair. Good, inhaling up. Good, left side, exhale, folding forward. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, we fold. Right leg will go back. Right hand stays, left hand comes up to the sky. And back down. Inhale to our high lunge. Exhale, hands come down to the inside of that left foot. And then we'll walk ourselves around to our wide-legged forward fold. Inhaling nice and high. Exhale, hands come to our hearts, bending the right knee for the side lunge. Inhaling up, pointing those left toes to the top of our mat, and sinking down into our warrior two. Good, inhaling, reverse warrior. Exhaling, cartwheeling those hands down to our mat. And we'll step back, downward facing dog. Inhale forward. Exhale, we lower down. Inhale to our back bend. Tucking our toes, pressing back for downward facing dog. Good, let's lift that right leg up high. Oh, left leg up side. Left leg up high, pardon me, kicking ourselves in the bum. And then bringing that knee into our chest, hovering ever so slightly, and then coming down to our short pigeon. Good, tucking that right toe, stepping back, three-legged dog, and then stepping forward into our lunge. Good, and then our right. Inhale to our flat back. Exhale, we fold. Inhaling nice and high. And exhale, Tadasana. Whew. Good, let's inhale up. Hands come to our hearts. Good. Nice and strong connection for our hands. We're going to place all of our weight on our right foot. We're going to lift that left knee up into like a 90-degree angle. Good. And then slowly we begin to bow forward. And the left leg will lengthen back behind us for warrior three. Good, now our hands can find the floor. Our leg will step all the way back and we'll find ourselves in our lunge. Tricky lady. Good, our left hand will stay on the floor, right hand will come up. Good, back down. Let's inhale to our high lunge. Good, and now let's extend that right knee. Good, and then bend it back down to our lunge. And now let's turn our way to the right. So taking that right hand back behind us. Left hand comes in front of us. Back to the center. Good, and then hands come to the inside of that right foot. And now let's walk our way around to our wide-legged forward fold. Inhaling, coming all the way up high. Hands come to our hearts. We'll bend over toward the left. Lifting those right toes. Let's sink our butts down just a little bit more. Millimeters is progress. Good. Inhaling all the way up. We'll point those right toes. And we'll sink down into that warrior two. Good. Reverse warrior. Good, and now let's lengthen that right leg and we'll work our way into triangle. So reaching the right hand out to lengthen those ribs. And then we'll drop the arm, lift the left. Beautiful. Bending that right knee. Hands can come down to our lunge. Let's step back, downward facing dog. We can pedal it out if we need. Inhale forward into our plank. Exhale, we lower down. Inhale to our back bend. We tuck our toes, pressing back for downward facing dog. And now let's lift that right leg up high. We'll kick ourselves in the bum. Good, and coming in for our pigeon. Good, and then stepping back, three-legged dog. All the way up to the top of our mat for our lunge. Good, and then with the left to our fold. Good, inhale to our flat back. Exhale, we fold. We should be feeling our folds getting a little bit better as we've built up some heat. Woken ourselves up. Inhale all the way up, nice and high. Exhale, little back bend. Good, inhaling up. And now let's sit down into our chair. If we'd like, we can even try like a little balancing chair here, lifting our heels up off of the floor. Good, and back up to the top. Bringing our hands together at our hearts. Finding our way into our warrior three on the other side. So all of our weight is going to go on our left foot. Activate that hip, really open up in that hip, nice and strong. Lift that right knee up. And when we're ready, begin to hinge. So we can step back. If it gets windy in our room and we fall out, then we try and come back in. It's okay. Good, and then hands can find the floor. We'll step all the way back to our lunge. Good, right hand will stay, left hand comes up. And back down. Inhale to our high lunge. Good, let's lengthen that right, or that left leg. Well, the right one's too. Good, and back down. And now we're gonna twist around to the left. So taking that left hand back behind us, right hand forward. And back up to the top. Exhale, hands come to the inside of that left foot, and then we'll walk our way around to our wide-legged forward fold. Good, inhaling up high. Good, exhale, hands come to our hearts, bending that right knee. Left toes can come up, keeping our chests nice and proud. Just bend over. Good, inhaling, coming on up, pointing those left toes to the front of our mat, and bending that left knee for warrior two. Good, reverse warrior. Good, lengthening that left leg, triangle pose. Good, and then both hands can come down, bend that left knee into our lunge. Let's step back, downward facing dog. Inhaling forward. And lower down halfway, inhale, upward facing dog. Tucking the toes, pressing back. Downward facing dog. And now we're lifting the left leg up high. We'll kick ourselves in the bum. Good. Bringing that knee forward into our brief pigeon. Good. Tucking that right toe, stepping back, three-legged dog. And we'll step forward. And then we'll step forward again. And now we're just gonna hang. So hands can stay to the floor, to our shins or feet, or we can hold our elbows and just kind of sway. And releasing the arms. Bending the knees so that our hands can find a good strong spot on the floor. We're gonna walk our feet heel toe, nice and wide. A little bit wider than our hips. Now we're just gonna sit real low down, coming into our Malasana squat. This is very, very good for us to do throughout our day. If we have troubles with the balance of this squat, we can use the wall. We can use a yoga block. If we have a very well-behaved dog, we can kind of balance ourselves on our little buddy. Elbows are inside of our knees, palms together. Hearts are nice and proud. Good, and then release those hands. We'll come back up to standing, walking our feet back together into our fold, and then slowly, 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 we'll roll our way up. Roll the shoulders back. Find our Tadasana. Let's do one more balance before we come down onto our mat. So we'll work on balancing on this right foot. So we'll just kind of, I like to just shift my weight over to that right foot to make that left foot a little bit more light. We're gonna bring that knee up. We're gonna bend the right knee as we're sitting down into our chair, crossing the left foot over that right knee. Hands can come to our hearts. We can reach up to the sky. Come out to an airplane if we need the counterbalance, and we'll just begin to sit into our chair. As we sit into our chair, our hearts are coming up, our tails are tucking. And now, if we get to a point where we might be able to hook that elbow into this foot, we can. And then slowly we will unwind. Shake it out. Good. And now we'll work on to the other side. So left foot is nice and active, pressing into the floor. Hip is strong. We'll bend that right knee. We'll bend the left knee. Cross the right over the left. And begin to sit in our chair. Breathing deeply. And gently come on up, unwind, shake it out. Whew. And then we'll slowly fold forward, just so that we can gracefully find our way onto our mats. Bring those feet out in front of us, nice and long. We'll pull the muscles out from underneath of our sitting bones, pointing our toes up toward the sky. Good. And then from here, nice long spine. Hands can be to our thighs, or we can reach up above our head. A little forward fold here, bringing our chest toward those toes. Good. And then releasing, coming on up. Now we're going to bend our knees. We're going to hug those thighs into our bellies. We're going to hug underneath of our thighs into our bellies. So our chests are still coming over our knees. So we still have that nice long back. This is just another way that we can do our forward fold to kind of encourage ourselves to hinge at the hips. So as we walk these feet forward, we're attached to the thighs and our chest will come forward as well. Now, depending on where you're at today, maybe this is our max because we're getting a really good stretch in those hamstrings, right? We can walk our butt away just a little bit, which will help tilt that pelvis a little. And then maybe as we breathe, we can come down a little bit further. And a little bit further. Or we find that spot where this is where we're at, and this is great. And then when we're ready, we can walk those feet back in towards us. We can release the thighs. And now let's lengthen those legs again. And see if we can replicate that attachment from our tummy to our thighs as we do our forward fold. Now, if it is still bothering you to have straight legs, then we bend the knees and we keep working this way for our fold. Good. And slowly we'll come up. Very nice. Good. We're going to keep this left leg nice and long. And then we're going to bend the right knee and we're going to cross it over the left side. We're going to hug that right knee with our left arm. And again, squish that tummy up against your thigh. Right hand will reach back behind us. We lengthen on that inhale. And then as we exhale, we begin to turn to the right. Still lengthening on those inhales. We'll deepen the twist on our exhales. Let's do one more breath here. We'll stay for that exhale. And then we'll slowly unwind. We'll come all the way around to the right for a little counter twist. So hands will just find the floor. And we just kind of bow to the floor next to us. Good. And coming back to the center, we'll open up that knee. Keep the leg crossed over the left. And then we'll bend that left knee into a bit of a figure four. So our hands can come behind us to help keep our backs nice and long. And then, depending on where we're at, our foot can come really close to our butt, or it's not so much, but we're thinking about working this right knee away from our bodies. Good, and we'll walk that left foot out again. We'll uncross, we'll wiggle those little legs out a little bit. And then we'll move on to the other side. So our right leg will be nice and long. We'll cross that left foot over the right. We'll hug with that left arm, or the right arm nice and tight. Tummy into the thigh. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, we twist to the left. Our hand finds the floor back behind us as an extension and support of our spine as we twist. Let's do one more breath. Inhaling, nice and tall. We'll stay for that exhale. Twist just a little bit further. And then slowly we'll unwind. Come all the way around to the right. Hands find the floor. And back to the center. And now we'll open up that knee on the left side, keeping the foot over the right knee. Hands can find the floor, and we'll begin to bend that right knee, bringing that foot in towards our body. Still keeping that left leg working away from us. And slowly wiggle those right toes out. We'll lengthen. We'll uncross. Give those buddies a little bit of a shake. And then when we're ready, we'll roll up into our little egg. We'll rock back to our backs. We can even rock back and forth. Give ourselves a little yogi massage. And then finding some stillness here on our backs. And we'll open those knees wide one last time. Hands will come through the inside of our legs to the outside of our feet, flexing those feet, relaxing our shoulders. We'll find our way into dead bug. And then releasing the feet, bringing the knees together, lifting the hands and feet up to the sky. Wiggle the fingers and the toes, roll around in the wrists and the ankles, point and flex. Just give ourselves that little wiggle before our stillness. And then inhale, we lengthen, reaching both our hands and our feet up to the sky. Exhale, slowly, slowly, slowly. Lower ourselves down. When we get about here, this is where we want to drop. Let's see if we have the strength in our mind to continue just lowering. Once we find ourselves all the way to the mat, we give ourselves one last big stretch. And then exhale. Everything relaxes. Our eyes close. Our body relaxes. Our face softens. We allow our mind to just go as we find our stillness. With every breath, our body releases just a little bit more, it relaxes. We allow ourselves to be supported by the earth. We simultaneously feel heavier and lighter. Deepen our breath. Gently wiggle our fingers and our toes as we slowly come back into our space. Bend our knees. Roll up into a little ball. We'll rock on over to one side. One more deep breath here as we check in with how we're feeling. And when we're ready, and not before, we'll slowly help ourselves up to a comfortable seated position. Inhale, lifting our hands up to the sky, bringing them together at the top. We'll exhale them down to our hearts with the purpose of giving ourselves thanks. Thank you to us for the gift that we just gave ourselves. I thank you for your presence, your dedication to yourselves, I thank you for allowing me to help you through your practice today, and I hope that we feel a little bit better than when we started. I wish you a very happy rest of your day and great rest of your week. The light and the divine in me recognizes and respects the light and the divine in each of you, and when we are together, we are one. Namaste.